The stars stretched endlessly before the Zyphora, the alien flagship gliding silently through the darkness of space. Inside, the ship's corridors hummed with a low, mechanical rhythm. Lights pulsed along the walls, signaling the ship's energy flow. Crew members, with their alien forms, slender bodies, multi-limbed arms, and translucent skin, moved in perfect harmony, each one performing tasks with precise efficiency. Yet, even in this world of order, one officer walked with a restless curiosity. Kale, the first mate of the Zyphora, had never seen a species quite like the one their queen now demanded he study. Humans fragile in appearance, soft-skinned, and hairless compared to the aliens were rumored to possess extraordinary stamina, endurance that no other species could match. It was said they could keep going through the night, performing task after task, without slowing down. The Queen's curiosity had grown from whispers and reports of their achievements. Building great structures, exploring harsh environments, and solving problems no alien had ever attempted. Kale had been skeptical. Aliens like him valued efficiency above all else. Energy was precious. Rest was necessary. Why would a species spend hours, sometimes even days, pushing themselves beyond what should be possible? But curiosity was part of Kale's nature, and his queen commanded him to observe the humans directly. The Zyphora's sensors had located a suitable observation point: Earth. From orbit, the planet shimmered in blue and green, clouds moving gracefully over oceans and mountains. Kale adjusted the ship's viewing instruments to focus on a small city filled with lights and movement. The humans below were tiny from space, each one a speck among millions, yet their activity drew Kale's attention immediately. At first, it was ordinary activity. People walking, working, and playing. But as night fell over the city, Kale noticed something extraordinary. Humans did not simply rest. Even after long workdays, when night blanketed their streets, the humans continued. Some ran through parks, some read by small lamps, and others gathered to share knowledge or build things together. Kale watched as humans moved, spoke, and acted in a rhythm that seemed endless. Their energy didn't wane like the aliens, whose bodies required long cycles of rest to function efficiently. Kale frowned. It was impossible. No species could continue like this without exhaustion. Yet, the humans kept going. They laughed, debated. Kale made meticulous notes, his fingers tracing the lighted displays before him. Every human action was recorded. Their persistence, their cooperation, their curiosity. It was unlike anything Kale had ever seen. He was not alone in his astonishment. The ship's artificial intelligence, a soft voice called Vela, commented in her usual calm tone. First mate, their endurance is remarkable. Their energy output per cycle exceeds the Queen's preliminary data estimates by 20%. KL muttered under his breath. And they do it without discipline, protocols, or energy regulation? Impossible. Vela did not respond. She never argued, only presented facts. But Kale knew what she meant. Humans were inefficient in every technical sense. They wasted energy laughing, talking, and exploring, yet somehow, they did not falter. Kale decided to narrow his observation. He chose a single human to study more closely, a young woman named Lena Morales, who was reported to be an astrophysicist. Lena was not remarkable in appearance. Ordinary height, hair tied back, glasses perched on her nose, but Kale was unconcerned with looks. The Queen wanted capability, stamina, and adaptability. He observed Lena as she entered her laboratory, her focus absolute. Instruments blinked, screens filled with data, and she worked through complex calculations without pause. She consulted books, typed into computers, and sketched diagrams, all without a hint of fatigue. Kale leaned closer to the display, curious and impressed. Even after 12 hours of continuous work, she continued with unbroken concentration. Does she sleep? Kale asked, almost in disbelief. Unknown, Vela responded. But her physical performance does not decline. Kale allowed himself a rare smile. The stories were true. Humans could indeed go all night. But why? What gave them this endless energy? Aliens conserved energy with precise cycles. Rest periods calculated down to the millisecond. Humans seemed to operate on a completely different principle. Their energy did not come from rigid management. It seemed almost internal, something intangible and extraordinary. Kale's curiosity turned into obsession. He spent hours, sometimes days, observing Lena and others like her. He saw them work, learn, and create. Some humans danced, others played music, and a few ran marathons or explored mountains. Whatever they did, they kept going. Every time an alien would have stopped, humans pushed forward, solving problems in ways that no protocol could anticipate. One evening, Kale noticed something else. Humans not only persisted, they encouraged each other. Lena spoke with her colleagues, sharing ideas, debating solutions, helping others improve their work. Kale realized this was part of the secret. Humans drew energy from each other, from collaboration and shared curiosity. It was social stamina, a drive that the aliens had never needed to cultivate. The Queen summoned Kale to her chamber. Her throne glimmered with light, and her multiple eyes regarded him carefully. "Report," she demanded. Kale bowed. "Your Majesty, the humans, they are unlike anything we have encountered. Their endurance is not just physical. They adapt, innovate, and continue without rest in ways that defy alien physiology. They collaborate, support each other, and never falter under pressure. I do not know how they do it." The Queen's lips curved slightly. "So, the stories are true. Humans can go all night. And yet, you hesitate. Tell me, Kale, do you see them as a threat or an opportunity?" Kale paused. The answer was not simple. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but there was a brilliance in them, a spark that no alien could replicate. "Your Majesty, they are extraordinary. If we study them carefully, they could teach us much. But they could also surprise us in ways we cannot predict." The Queen nodded. "Good. Observe them more closely. Learn what fuels them. If they can sustain this energy, if they can continue without pause, they may yet become allies or something more." Kale left the chamber, feeling a weight he had not expected. For centuries, he had believed the aliens were the peak of efficiency and endurance. Yet here, in the heart of humanity, was a species that challenged every assumption he had ever held. He returned to the observation deck and focused on Lena again. She was laughing now, talking to her colleagues, completely unaware of the alien gaze upon her. Kale realized something crucial. Humans were not extraordinary because they never tired. They were extraordinary because they refused to see limits where others saw them. Their drive was not calculated. It was natural, unstoppable, and exhilarating to witness. As the night deepened over Earth, Kale continued his watch. The city lights shimmered below, and the humans moved tirelessly, endlessly, as if guided by some inner fire. Kale could feel it. This was a force the aliens had never encountered. A force the Queen herself had underestimated. And for the first time, Kale felt a spark of excitement, a thrill he had not felt in decades. He was about to learn that humans, in all their stubborn, endless energy, might just be the most fascinating species in the galaxy. And so, from the observation deck of the Zyphora, the first mate of the alien queen began the study that would change his life forever, watching, learning, and trying to understand the humans who could truly go all night. The Zyphora hovered silently above Earth, its vast shadow stretching across cities and oceans below. Kale, the first mate, had spent days observing humans from the observation deck. The patterns of their activity were mesmerizing. Humans worked late into the night, explored, created, and collaborated with endless energy. But observation alone was no longer enough. The Queen had grown impatient. Her curiosity about humans had transformed into insistence. She wanted answers. Kale was ordered to capture a human for closer study, to understand firsthand the secret behind their endless stamina. Kale did not like the idea. He had witnessed the humans' determination, their brilliance, and their adaptability. For all their energy, they were clever, and their unpredictability made him uneasy. But defiance was impossible. The Queen's command was absolute. He scanned the city below for a suitable candidate. One name appeared repeatedly in intelligence reports. Dr. Lena Morales, the astrophysicist he had observed for so long. She was brilliant, innovative, and fearless. The perfect representative of her species. Kale selected her carefully, ensuring minimal risk to others and maximum opportunity to study her abilities. The capture was swift and precise. Lena had been walking home from the laboratory when a small, invisible energy field enveloped her. Lifting her gently into a containment pod aboard the Zyphora, she blinked, disoriented, and looked around at the alien interior. The walls glimmered, and machinery hummed with an unfamiliar energy. Kale entered the chamber. He was imposing, tall, and multi-limbed, yet his movements were deliberate, careful not to frighten her. Lena's eyes widened as she regarded him, but she did not scream. She did not panic. Instead, she tilted her head and said simply, "Well, this is unexpected." Kale frowned. Most species, he knew, would have panicked immediately, struggling or begging for release. Humans were different. Lena's calm, almost curious reaction intrigued him. "You are Dr. Lena Morales," Kale said formally. "The Queen wishes to study your species. You will cooperate." "I see," Lena replied, her tone steady. "And if I choose not to cooperate?" Kale paused. Few humans had ever questioned authority with such calm confidence. "You have little choice," he said. "I thought so," she said with a small smile. "But it seems you're polite about it. I can work with that." Kale studied her carefully. There was something extraordinary about the way she carried herself, focused, alert, and intelligent. Unlike other species he had studied, she did not appear broken or frightened by her sudden abduction. In fact, she seemed almost excited. For the next hours, Kale introduced her to the Zyphora's systems. Lena moved through the corridors quickly, her eyes bright with curiosity. She observed alien technology, scanned readouts, and even began experimenting with controls. Kale watched in amazement as she solved problems that would have taken his crew days to process. "She adapts faster than any alien cadet I have trained," Kale muttered to Vela, the ship's AI. "She is human," Vela replied. "Their species possesses high cognitive flexibility. Their stamina is not only physical but mental and social. They learn, innovate, and persist simultaneously." Kale shook his head. He had observed this before, but seeing it firsthand was astonishing. Humans did not just endure, they thrived under pressure. Lena navigated alien technology as if it were second nature. She improvised solutions where no manual existed, and her adaptability seemed limitless. Kale realized this was more than endurance, it was creativity. Humans had a unique ability to take unknown variables and turn them into advantages. That was what made them dangerous and brilliant. Later, Lena asked a question that startled Kale. "Why are you watching us? Why does your queen care so much about humans?" Kale hesitated. The truth was complicated. "The queen seeks knowledge," he said cautiously. "Your species is unusual. You do not rest as others do. You push yourself far beyond what should be possible. It intrigues her." Lena laughed softly. "Well, I suppose you could say we like challenges. We never stop because we never see limits." Kale tilted his head, impressed. Humans' endurance was not just physical, it was a philosophy. Their drive, their curiosity, their desire to improve and explore, gave them a power the Zyphora's crew could not understand. Over the next few days, Kale continued observing Lena. She quickly mastered alien systems, repaired minor malfunctions in the ship, and even suggested optimizations to processes that had been in place for centuries. The aliens were precise, but rigid. Humans, Kale realized, were adaptable. Their energy was not just in their muscles or minds, it was in their ability to learn, innovate, and continue regardless of circumstances. One night, Kale found Lena in a quiet observation chamber, looking at the Earth below. The planet glowed with city lights, oceans shimmered, and clouds drifted across continents. "You like it?" Kale asked. "It's beautiful," Lena said softly. "So much life, so much happening all at once. It's incredible to see it from here." Kale studied her. "You are not afraid of being so far from home?" "I have been far from home before," Lena replied, her gaze steady. "Distance is relative. Curiosity is infinite." Kale felt a stirring he had never felt before. Humans were fearless. Not because they lacked caution, but because their desire to explore, to understand, overrode fear. Their energy and endurance came from purpose and curiosity, not biological mechanics alone. The Queen summoned Kale again. "Report," she demanded. Kale bowed. "Your Majesty, the human we have captured, Dr. Lena Morales, is extraordinary. She adapts, innovates, and continues without pause. Her species' energy is not merely physical, it is mental, social, and emotional. They do not see limits where we do. They push forward, relentlessly." The Queen's many eyes glimmered. "And you? What do you see?" Kale hesitated. "I see potential. Humans could be our greatest allies, or our greatest challenge. Their endurance and creativity are unlike anything we have encountered." The Queen considered this, her attention intense. "Do not underestimate them, Kale. Study her. Learn what fuels this all-night energy. We will decide soon whether humans are to be allies or a species to monitor closely." Kale returned to the observation chamber, watching Lena at work. She was exhausted by alien standards. Yet, she continued, tinkering with instruments, reading data, and even teaching some of the Zyphera's crew about problem-solving. Kale realized that humans did not merely endure, they inspired others to push further. He made a quiet note in his log. Humans were not only enduring, they were transformative. The crew around them began to notice subtle changes as well. Aliens who worked with Lena adapted, learned, and improved. She had a contagious energy, one that pushed even the most disciplined alien to reconsider their limitations. Kale understood, finally, what the Queen had sensed. Humans were special, not because of raw strength, but because of their endless drive, adaptability, and ability to inspire others. As he observed Lena one last time before sleep, though humans did not seem to need it, Kale felt a mixture of awe and anticipation. The humans' abilities were more than remarkable, they were revolutionary. The first mate realized that the Queen's decision to focus on Earth was just the beginning. For the first time in centuries, Kale felt a thrill that was not tied to orders or duty. Humans were unpredictable, brilliant, and tireless. He could only imagine what would happen when they were tested further, when they were truly challenged. And somewhere deep inside, Kale admitted quietly to himself, humans were not only special, they might change everything the Zyphera thought it knew about endurance, creativity, and the power of living without limits. The Zyphera's observation decks glimmered with activity as the Queen prepared a challenge unlike any the crew had faced before. Kale stood beside the control panels, watching humans and aliens alike ready themselves for the trial. Lena Morales, the human he had studied for days, walked calmly into the chamber, carrying her notebook and a small device she had crafted from scraps of alien technology. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, not fear. The Queen's voice echoed through the chamber. "Today, we shall see if humans are truly as remarkable as they are said to be. They will face tests of endurance, intelligence, and adaptability. Their performance will determine their future with us." Kale felt a mix of pride and concern. He had seen humans endure and innovate, but he had never witnessed a trial designed to push them to their absolute limits. He looked at Lena. "You ready for this?" he asked quietly. "Always," Lena replied with a grin. "Besides, I've faced harder problems on Earth with less equipment. Kale shook his head, both impressed and nervous. The first test began. The chamber transformed into a maze of shifting walls, holographic traps, and moving platforms. Aliens were trained to navigate such obstacles using precision and logic. Humans, however, relied on creativity, instinct, and improvisation. Lena scanned the environment, taking note of patterns, calculating angles, and observing weak points. She moved carefully but swiftly, leaping across gaps, sliding under barriers, and even using small devices she had fashioned to disable certain traps. Kale watched in amazement as Lena solved problems that would have taken multiple alien crews hours to figure out. She adapted to every change in the maze with grace and speed. Unlike aliens, who relied on strict protocols, Lena could improvise on the spot, often turning obstacles into opportunities. The Queen's voice resonated again. Impressive. Let us proceed to the next challenge. This test was a physical endurance trial. The chamber transformed into a zero-gravity simulation with shifting energy fields. Aliens could manipulate energy efficiently, but they required calculated rest intervals to maintain strength. Humans, Lena included, had no such pre-programmed limits. She moved continuously, adjusting her movements to conserve momentum while still performing tasks and solving problems. Hours passed, and Kale observed as humans did what aliens could not. They combined mental focus with physical endurance seamlessly. Lena and a few other human participants worked together to solve complex tasks while maintaining full energy levels. Even when fatigue began to creep in, the humans found new reserves of strength, pushing through with a combination of determination, curiosity, and teamwork. Kale took detailed notes. Humans were more than resilient. They were dynamic. Each obstacle they faced was an opportunity for invention. They did not slow down because of pain, boredom, or repetition. They slowed only when they needed to assess and improve their next move. The Queen, watching from her throne, seemed intrigued but not entirely satisfied. "They endure," she said. "But endurance alone is not enough. Intelligence must be tested." The next trial was a puzzle of interlocking alien devices, a complex system designed to challenge logic, memory, and strategic thinking. Aliens could complete it using memorized patterns and rigid algorithms. Lena, however, approached it differently. She analyzed the devices, understood their purpose, and then began to manipulate them in ways no alien had considered. She communicated with Kale silently, pointing out connections between systems. Kale, impressed, realized she was thinking several steps ahead, predicting outcomes with remarkable accuracy. Aliens struggled to keep pace with her unconventional methods. Lena's human ingenuity gave her the edge, and it was clear that her species' endurance was deeply linked to creativity and problem-solving. The final test combined everything: endurance, intellect, and teamwork. Humans and aliens were paired together, each group tasked with navigating a dangerous, ever-changing environment filled with puzzles, traps, and energy barriers. Aliens followed strict protocols, working efficiently but predictably. Humans, led by Lena, adapted constantly, sharing strategies, improvising devices, and even encouraging their alien partners to push beyond their programmed limits. Kale watched as Lena motivated the team, giving precise instructions, celebrating small successes, and quickly correcting mistakes. Her energy never faltered, even as the test continued for what would have been hours of alien time. Humans worked tirelessly, their curiosity driving them to explore every possibility and exploit every advantage. The Queen leaned forward, her many eyes fixed on Lena and the humans. "Remarkable," she whispered. "They do not merely endure. They transform the environment itself, bend challenges to their will, and inspire others to follow." Kale nodded. He had seen this firsthand. Humans did not just survive challenges, they changed them. Their stamina was not mechanical. It was a combination of physical energy, mental agility, creativity, and the ability to inspire others. Hours stretched into what Kale estimated as days. The aliens, despite training and discipline, began to falter. Protocols failed when unexpected variables arose. energy reserves depleted. Yet humans continued, driven by purpose and curiosity. Lena and her team discovered shortcuts, created new solutions on the fly, and even taught their alien counterparts methods that had never existed before. Kale felt a deep respect for her species. Humans were not only adaptable, they were transformative. They pushed beyond limits that aliens considered absolute, proving that stamina was not merely a matter of biology, but a reflection of will, ingenuity, and collaboration. As the final challenge concluded, the Queen's chamber filled with a tense silence. Humans and aliens stood exhausted but proud. Lena smiled at Kale. "That was fun," she said, as if the entire ordeal had been a game rather than a test of survival. The Queen's many eyes focused on Kale. "Report," she commanded. Kale bowed. "Your Majesty, humans do not merely endure. They innovate, adapt, and inspire. Their stamina is not physical alone. It is mental, social, and emotional. No alien method can replicate it. They see possibilities where others see limits, and they use their energy to transform challenges into opportunities. I believe this is why they can go all night." The Queen regarded him silently, then spoke. "It seems your observations are correct. Humans are extraordinary. Their endurance, ingenuity, and drive surpass any species we have known. Perhaps they are not a threat, but rather a force to be reckoned with and respected." Kale nodded, feeling a mixture of awe and responsibility. Humans were not just capable, they were remarkable. He had witnessed something no alien had ever seen before. Humans could endure, innovate, and inspire in ways that no technology, protocol, or training could match. Lena, still smiling, approached Kale. Kale allowed himself a small smile. "You did more than pass. You and your species have changed how we see the universe." The Queen spoke again, her voice echoing through the chamber. "Prepare the humans for a new role among us. Their abilities must be studied further, integrated carefully, and respected. Kale, you will continue to guide this process." Kale looked at Lena, then at the exhausted yet triumphant humans and aliens. He realized that the future of interstellar relations might be shaped by this single species, and that humans, relentless, curious, and endlessly capable, would play a role no one could ignore. As the humans rested, Kale stayed nearby, watching and reflecting. He had learned a lesson. No observation or report could have taught him. Human strength was not in their bodies alone. It was in their will, their intelligence, and their boundless energy for discovery and collaboration. And as the stars of Earth shone far below, Kale knew that the humans' extraordinary endurance was just the beginning. The real challenge and the real adventure was only starting. The chamber aboard the Zyphora was alive with movement. Aliens adjusted their instruments. Humans explored every corner, and the Queen's eyes, gleaming with curiosity, scanned the gathered species. The trials had ended, yet the tension remained. Kale stood near the observation console, quietly recording every detail. He knew the Queen's final decision would change the course of human-alien relations forever. Lena Morales, standing in the center of the chamber, was calm despite exhaustion. Her face was flushed from hours of continuous activity, but her eyes shone with the same curiosity Kale had first noticed. She glanced at him and gave a small, confident smile. Kale had come to admire her not just for her skill or endurance, but for what she represented: the unique human combination of resilience, creativity, and empathy. The Queen's voice filled the chamber. "Kale, you have observed humans closely. What have you learned?" Kale stepped forward. "Your Majesty, humans are not just physically enduring. They are thinkers, innovators, and collaborators. Their energy is not limited by biology. It is fueled by curiosity, determination, and the desire to explore and improve. They do not see obstacles as boundaries but as opportunities. Their strength inspires others and transforms situations." The Queen's many eyes narrowed, intrigued. "And yet, they are unpredictable. Could they be trusted? Could their drive become dangerous?" Kale shook his head. "Yes, they are unpredictable. But unpredictability is not weakness. It is power. Humans' capacity to adapt, innovate, and endure surpasses any protocol, any rule, any training we have. If guided properly, they could become invaluable allies, not threats. The Queen paused, her gaze shifting between Kale and Lena. "And what of this human?" she asked, gesturing toward Lena. "Does she represent her species?" Kale considered carefully. "She is an example, yes. But more than that, she is proof that humans' endurance is matched by creativity and leadership. If humans can go all night in study and problem-solving, imagine what they could accomplish with guidance and opportunity." The Queen leaned back, her form towering above the chamber. For a moment, silence filled the room, broken only by the hum of the Zyphora's engines. Finally, she spoke. "Very well. Humans are to be respected. They are not a threat, but neither are they tools. They are a species to be observed, learned from, and potentially allied with. Kale, you will act as their liaison." Kale's heart swelled with pride. This was more than recognition of human capability. It was a declaration that humans had changed the Queen's view of the galaxy. Lena stepped forward, her gaze steady. "So, what now?" she asked. "Do we go home, or—" The Queen's voice rumbled through the chamber. "That will be decided. For now, humans will remain aboard as observers and collaborators. They will teach us, just as we will guide them. This is a beginning, not an end." Kale watched Lena as she explored the ship, interacting with alien crew members and quickly adapting to their ways. She moved with confidence, improvising solutions to minor malfunctions, explaining concepts to curious aliens, and learning new systems faster than Kale had thought possible. He realized something crucial. Humans did not just endure. They transformed everything around them. Aliens began to adopt methods, Lena suggested, improving efficiency and learning adaptability. Kale saw that humans' all-night energy was more than physical stamina. It was a spark that could ignite change across species and systems. Later, Kale found Lena in the observation deck, gazing down at Earth's glowing cities. She was quiet for a moment, taking in the view, and then spoke. "It's beautiful," she said softly. "So many lives, so much happening at once, and we've only just begun to understand it." Kale nodded. "Humans are remarkable. Your endurance is not just in your body, it's in your mind, your curiosity, your ability to inspire and innovate." Lena smiled. "I guess that's why you were so surprised at first, right? You expected limits, but we don't always see them." Kale allowed himself a small chuckle. "Indeed. I underestimated you. And now, the entire Queen's perspective has changed because of what you've shown." As the days passed, humans and aliens began working together in ways previously thought impossible. Lena taught aliens problem-solving techniques, methods for improvisation, and ways to approach challenges creatively rather than rigidly. In turn, Kale and other officers shared knowledge of advanced technology, navigation, and energy manipulation. The collaboration was unprecedented. Kale observed quietly, noting how humans' energy never seemed to fade. They worked tirelessly, learning and teaching simultaneously. Alien crew members, though capable, struggled to keep pace with the humans' relentless drive. Yet instead of frustration, the humans encouraged, guided, and inspired them. He realized that humans' greatest strength was not merely endurance but influence. Their energy, curiosity, and determination created change in others, pushing the Zyphora's crew beyond their programmed limits. The all-night capability was a reflection of a larger truth. Humans thrived when challenged, fueled by purpose, collaboration, and curiosity. The Queen called a meeting to finalize her decisions. Kale, Lena, and selected alien officers gathered in the central chamber. The Queen's presence was commanding, her form radiating authority and thoughtfulness. "Kale," she said, "you have proven humans are extraordinary. Their endurance and ingenuity surpass expectation. They are a species to be valued, not controlled. Kale bowed. Yes, Your Majesty. They are capable of far more than even our protocols anticipated. The Queen's gaze shifted to Lena. And you, human, have shown qualities that even your species may not fully understand. Your curiosity, your energy, and your ability to adapt are remarkable. You have earned the respect of the Zyphora, and I believe, of the galaxy. Lena's face flushed with pride. Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did what humans do best. We keep going, keep learning, keep pushing forward. The Queen's multiple eyes gleamed. And that is exactly why humans are unique. You do not see boundaries as limits. You see them as challenges. That is a power we cannot ignore. Kale realized, with a mixture of awe and relief, that the Queen's words marked a new era. Humans were no longer merely a curiosity to be observed. They were allies, teachers, and examples of what determination, ingenuity, and boundless energy could achieve. Later, Kale walked with Lena through the corridors. I have to admit, he said, you've changed everything. Not just the Queen's view but mine too. I never understood how humans could go all night. Until now. Lena laughed softly. It's not just about going all night, Kale. It's about refusing to stop, about curiosity, and about helping each other keep going. That's what humans do best. Kale nodded, smiling. He could see it now, the spark, the drive, the unique combination of endurance and creativity that made humans exceptional. He realized that the galaxy would never be the same once humans began to interact with other species on a level of trust and collaboration. As he watched Lena and the other humans continue their work, Kale felt hope. Hope that humans could teach the Zyphora, and perhaps other species, a new way of seeing the universe, one where limits were not walls but invitations to explore, where curiosity fueled endurance, and where the spark of life, human life, could inspire change across stars. And somewhere deep inside, Kale smiled quietly to himself. Humans could go all night not because they had no need for rest, but because they had the courage, curiosity, and determination to never stop exploring, learning, and growing. The Queen watched from her throne, silently acknowledging the revelation. She had expected stamina. What she had discovered was far greater. Humans were a force of ingenuity, resilience, and inspiration. And in that force lay the power to shape the future of the galaxy itself. The stars outside the observation windows shone brilliantly, reflecting the endless possibilities ahead. Humans and aliens together, learning, teaching, and growing the galaxy had never seen anything like it before. Kale leaned against the rail, watching Lena as she spoke with alien crew members, her energy seemingly endless. He realized the truth had finally become clear. Humans were extraordinary, not merely for their physical endurance, but for their ability to transform the world and everyone around them through their boundless curiosity and relentless drive. And so, the story of humans aboard the Zyphora reached its first conclusion. But Kale knew it was only the beginning. The galaxy had met its newest, most unexpected champions, and the night was just getting started.